We all want to heal. We all want to feel better, to be free from our past, to find peace, to become who we were meant to be. But here's the truth most people don't talk about. Healing doesn't feel like healing. Not at first. Sometimes, not for a long time. It feels like confusion. It feels like losing control. It feels like falling apart. There's this idea that healing is some kind of calm, upward journey. That once you start doing the work, everything starts falling into place. But in reality, the real work often makes everything fall out of place. In this video, I want to talk about why real healing is so messy, why it feels like regression instead of growth, and why the hardest moments are often the ones that mean you're actually moving forward. We'll look at this through the lens of Carl Jung's shadowwork, Buddhist detachment, and what it really means to go through psychological transformation. Because if you're feeling lost right now, this might not be a sign of failure. It might be a sign that you're finally becoming whole. We live in a world that sells us a very polished version of healing. We're told it's all about positive thinking, gratitude journals, meditation, self-love affirmations. And don't get me wrong, those things have value, but they're not the full story. They don't prepare you for the part where healing looks like grief, or rage, or emptiness. Most of us go into healing thinking it'll feel like progress. It begins with the exact opposite: discomfort, fear, disorientation. We think we're doing something wrong when it hurts, but the pain isn't the problem. It's the path. Carl Jung once said, "One does not become enlightened by imagining figures of light, but by making the darkness is part of the journey. The chaos is part of the cure." Carl Jung talked a lot about the shadow, the parts of ourselves we reject, hide, or push away. Your shadow might be your anger, your insecurity, your jealousy, your pain. It's everything you've learned to avoid, repress, or deny. Because at some point, you were taught it wasn't safe or acceptable to feel those things. When we begin the healing process, especially through shadow work, we're forced to face these things head on. And that's why it feels so painful. Not because you're failing, but because you're finally seeing the truth. And the truth is rarely gentle at first. Think about it. If you've spent years, maybe decades, hiding parts of yourself, finally turning around to face those parts is going to feel like a storm. You'll feel worse before you feel better. Not because you're broken, but because you're finally becoming real. Let's go deeper. Buddhism teaches us about detachment, letting go of the things we cling to. Not just material things, but beliefs, identities, roles, expectations. And the truth is, many of us are attached to our pain, to our trauma, to our victimhood, to our sense of self that was built around survival. So healing requires losing those parts. It requires letting go of who we thought we were. And that's terrifying, because when the ego starts to die, when your identity starts to crack, it doesn't feel like healing. It feels like death, like loss, like grief. But in that loss, something else begins to open. There's a quote by PsycheShadow that says, "Only to the extent that we expose ourselves over and over to annihilation can that which is indestructible be found in us." The parts of you that are being destroyed aren't the truth of you. They're the masks, the survival strategies, the illusions. What remains after the chaos is your real self. Psychologically, there's something very real happening here. Your nervous system doesn't recognize healing. It recognizes safety or threat. So when you start doing deep healing work, when you revisit trauma, confront pain, change your habits, say no to toxic patterns, your body and mind don't always interpret that as safe. Sometimes healing triggers the same survival responses as trauma. Fight, flight, freeze. It feels like your world is collapsing. Your emotions feel unstable. Your relationships start to shift or break down completely. And that's terrifying. But again, it's part of the process. Healing is not linear. It spirals. It loops. You think you've let go of something, and then a year later, it shows up again. But deeper, clearer, more real. This doesn't mean you're going backward. It means you're healing at the next layer. Here's the part nobody tells you. Healing looks like crying in your car. It looks like sleeping too much. It looks like doubting yourself. It looks like being alone more than you expected. It looks like ending relationships, changing your mind, letting go of people who don't understand who you're becoming. It's not pretty. It's not Instagram worthy. But it's real. Sometimes healing means feeling like you don't know who you are anymore. And that's not regression. That's transformation. The person you used to be can't walk the road you're on now. So parts of them have to be left behind. You are not lost. You are shedding. So if you're in that space right now, if healing doesn't feel like healing, I want you to know you're not alone. You're not doing it wrong. You're not broken. You are unraveling. And that's sacred work. True healing doesn't always feel good. But it is true. It feels like falling apart. But you're not falling apart. You're falling open. And maybe this chaos is not a detour from healing. Maybe it is healing. If this spoke to you, feel free to share your thoughts in the comments. I'll see you in the next video.